skip the countdown. Yo, these dudes always. Why do they sound so upset when other people are coming up with ideas, yo? But this shit is so fucking funny. And in this beautiful fashion, it's not that these libertarians are trying to teach you about crime stats and all this other stuff, just like the CRT shit. Go ahead, hold on. Hold on, 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 hold on. It's the fact that these guys from Austin University is asking for donations, yo.
Backed by a guy named Joe Lonsdale, who's a co-founder of Palantir, which is kind of like, in the same way that I'm a co-founder of Defector, Palantir is kind of doing the same thing that we're doing in sports media for state surveillance. Wow. And that's just, again, another space that really you'd want to see given a kick in the pants so that you could better have your face recognized by the NSA. So he's a creep, seems like, just like a Silicon Valley, like Peter Thiel associate type of dude. So this was his sort of dream thing that was announced by Barry Weiss's Substack. So you're going to hear basically is a lot of names that if you're a normal person that's watching this, most of these names aren't going to mean anything to you. And if you're somebody who, like me, goes online and gets upset all day about the same, like 10 people, like all 10 of those people are involved in this. It's basically like an attempt at a libertarian liberal arts university where people that are like mostly known for being grouchy in print or for having been fired from state schools for being so disagreeable about like gender and race. Like this is a place where all of them can get together and I guess like just teach classes about the racial aspect of crime stats.
Do we have a sense of how this is going to be? Is this going to be a brick and mortar thing, or is it going to be all? It is the plan,
right? So that was the part that
I don't know. I can't decipher. Like, is this going to be just like an online type of like what is it? The University of Phoenix or something like that?
Yeah,
it's all online, or is this going to be?
And he likes to steal ideas.
What I'm also fascinated by is that they're trying to get a not-for-profit status for it, and I wouldn't be surprised when they said we couldn't get one, so we're going to have to be a for-profit institution.
Yeah, we got canceled by the tax man when we were trying to start our school that was going to give degrees in like optimism and like.
But do we know is it going to be brick and mortar?
That's what they say. So the thing about it, it's like so it's different than like Prager University, for instance, another proud American institution. That's
or Trump University.
And Trump University's brick and mortar, like that was just like the banquet space at the Radisson, where you could like get people together to talk about flipping houses or whatever, and then get their picture taken next to like a cardboard cutout of the man himself. This they've like a little bit of money's been spent on it already. Like they don't have a space of their own. Like the address on their website is like an oil and gas law company in Austin. Like it's basically just office space that they have there. But they hired a guy away from the St. John's College in Annapolis, which is like a great books university, and he's there's a whole other thing about like great books education that I'm not nearly informed enough to really go on about. But it's like it's a real thing. Like they read Plato and they talk about it, and that's nice. It's better than what I did in college. Probably get more out of it than what I got out of what I did in college. But it's real. Like and in their announcement, they're like, yeah, we're looking for space. We want to have buildings. We want to have residences.
This asshole wants me to pay for his tuition. This dude got nothing out of college, yo. Holy fuck.
But also their timeline for all this is extremely ambitious, and I don't know. Especially putting it in Austin, which is in the middle of this incredible gentrifying surge. Like, it's not like there's a ton of space there.
But that's what I find sort of like fascinating. Why Austin? I mean, if you're looking for space.
Yeah, that too. Why does it matter if it's gentrified? Maybe those people will fucking, you know what I mean? Again, melting pot. We want people to learn everything, not just the way you guys think. The way you guys think is highly dangerous.
Why would you go to Austin? Is it because there's like a tech boom there, and there's some founder? Is the founder money there?
I mean, the founder is in Silicon Valley, as far as I know. Like everybody else is up there. Like just sort of like living in like a really nice.
He said nothing about Texas AAU, TA, Rhinelander State. He didn't say anything about that. He just said because it's a tech boom. Why would they go there?
Suburbs, like living in Palo Alto and just spending all day fuming about the guy who's the district attorney for San Francisco. That's basically like that lifestyle now.
Right.
But the Austin element, like on their website, they have like a FAQ section, and in addressing the Austin thing, the literal sentence that they have where it's like, it's good enough for Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, it's good enough for us. Just kidding. It's actually because it's like this big hub of culture. But like when you are like you're starting a university and you're also going out of your way to be like, we're the university that likes Joe Rogan and that wants to try to bring a Joe Rogan approach to pedagogy to your kids. Like that.
What is wrong with that? Joe Rogan asks a lot of questions, It has he makes up his own. He does come up with his own freaking analogy on how the world works and runs, almost on a real life basis, where you guys just listen to other people's surveys and go off of that. Don't meet a single person a day in your life, but we'll go off of that. Oh no, my fault. You meet the right people that you want to listen to. You don't want to go out. You don't want to get your hands dirty. I should say.
Signals to me that you are not serious.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like maybe I'm being unfair. Obviously, Elon, of course, hard to gainsay. He's accomplished so much. I mean, just no one has been more epic, probably, than him over the last.
Do you have a sense of why they named it? And hey, David, by the way.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you have a sense of why they named it University of Austin? Because it's pretty close to University of Texas at Austin.
Yes.
Why?
I just said practically.
Yeah.
By mistake, I said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to confuse people deliberately, or
it's really weird. You would think that they would start. Like, I was hoping for a more ambitious name, because like usually. Like things that are funded by rich libertarians at universities, it's like there's a lot of them, but they usually have hilarious names. Like either really
That's a whole different question than a tech boom and then having a name similar to another name in the same place. Two different things. Two different things. But yeah, nice save. Nice save.
Grandiose things where they're like the Publius Institute at James Madison University. And you're like, oh, that's like a Coke thing because they like things when they sound Latin. And then, or like Mercatus is the funny one. That's the one at George Mason. And it's like they're trying to sort of like retcon some respectability onto like just the worst and most unpopular ideas in human history. Like, and that's good for them, I guess, in that regard. But like this is a big swing as a school. Like they want to be the place where all of my least favorite Twitter posters are teaching as like tenured professionals.
Are they all going to move to Austin? Like I don't understand. I just feel like did you think Barry Weiss like jumped the gun here? I mean, this just seems like a very weird time in the process to have an array of like, who are these people? They're all going to be teachers there? Is that, I mean, it's like if you're
advisors. Like that's the thing. Baffled by someone trying to start.
I think there's other clues that it may not be serious. I guess my point. It's not just the Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and their FAQ.
Holy shit! Hold on.
I think it's like 250. Like, what if they played? What if the football team played in a stadium with your name on it? And there's a big. Can see. I mean, like, they're definitely targeting at a certain type of person who has money. It's just like the idea of being like, wouldn't it be incredible if all of these people that and wouldn't the people that you hate the most be amazed and
whatever you want.
All right.
I'm broke. Well,
Bradley, if you can put this up, if you scroll to the bottom, it says, sounds great.
This is what I found the shit the funniest. Why is it that these dudes will skip through everything in this shit for frequently asked questions? One of them would probably be, even if is this a scam? Damn, I wish I would. My resolution on this shit sucks. Besides this, but it was funny as the very top of the fucking.
Can I support you? And every dollar counts. You can support us financially.
Right there, community freedom, freedom of conscience, and civil discourse. To maintain these principles, university is fiercely independent, financially, intellectually, politically. And use university, popular for Austin, Texas.
Page. And then if you go to the bottom even further, I'm not rich, but I want to help. What can I do? We're grateful for any gift of any size. Like just so, please, like $17 donation, whatever you want.
I'm broke. Well, we'll still take money from you.
The idea of Barry Weiss cutting one of the.
Is it here? Nah, fuck.
It's like I'm just donate thing. Support videos.
Crowdfunding university. That's
hit the donate button. Because I find this is what's sort of amazing.
All right, here
you're waiting to see if you're going to get a nonprofit
status.
When
they go back.
Wouldn't that like greatly like change the implications of this donation? Like keep going down. Like, I mean, where does this donation go to? Go back.
Going down. No, go back. No, don't go down.
Is this like one of those like Indiegogo things?
Where is it at, yo? Government has requested and is awaiting a tax exempt determination from the IRS at present. UAX is financially, what is it? Oh, physically.
If it doesn't get funded, do we get our money back? Or is this just sort of like, well, sorry, we couldn't do it?
It's a chicken and the egg thing. What comes first? The non-personal status or the
Cicero?
Oh, there it
right.
goes. That's my fault. Goddamn words. Zero resources for universities are tax deductible for income, estate, and gift tax purposes. Meaning, you get money back for giving these dudes money. Yo, but they will not tell you that. You know what I mean? So shit. You could wait till the end of the year, bam, you just said that you donated so much money. Now it doesn't matter because you donated it. That's what donations are. You don't donate to the church. Then the church goes out of fucking business and then you wonder why you gonna give me my money back from the church? You're an idiot. Holy fucking shit, bro. It says right there. Right there. Black and white. Clear as crystal, bro. For its universal funding or tax deductible. Holy shit, bro. I don't know all the other legal jargon, but I'm guessing that bottom line right there means something. So you can say, yo, I just donated fucking $75,000 to such and such. I don't even need a fucking statue or anything. Just give me back some money for that shit. Because that means I probably already have enough money, another 75 tucked away somewhere. You people are dumb, yo. That's why I say these people mislead you, yo. It's like they want you to have money in the most least possible way. When you donate shit, you can get money back for that. It doesn't even matter what it is. You can donate clothes and get money back. You can donate your old toys, get money. You can donate water. You can go over to the thing with fucking little jugs, go to the 25 machines, get some water, go to the thing and say you fucking gave up water on a summer's day. Holy shit, dog. But these guys are so salty that somebody else is starting some shit up, yo.
Cicero
Holy
Research,
shit.
that's Lonsdale's, that's
The
sort of
only
the shell
idea
thing
they
for this. It's a
got is
nonprofit that otherwise has nothing on the docket that anyone can find.
Majority
And that's like
report
sort of
sports.
the mechanism through which this is going to be funded. That like I think it is like, because otherwise they still have to do, and they will eventually have to jump through all of the hoops that every college does. Like they're going to have to do like Title IX compliance and like all the shit that actually like makes colleges expensive. Or, you know, one of the things that makes colleges expensive. But right now, it's just you can give money to the Cicero Institute, which I guess does kind of cover the...
That's exactly right. The weird...
Why is it this
You don't
prestigious
have
name?
to go
I mean, I love one. This just seems like one of those old
But
Kickstarters. Do you
they're
remember
not
those?
doing
Like
what they
that.
went to
I mean, that's
college
kind of it. GoFundMe's replaced that a little bit. But I love like envisioning what their different you know, institutions will look like their athletic
did that to
building.
go
Who
to
they're going to name
college
that
to
after? I don't know how many athletes are going to be involved in this. But I mean,
this from
maybe
the
Joe
jump.
Rogan. Maybe it'll be the Joe Rogan.
Dome.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan Dome and Jordan
Playground.
Peterson.
That's why-
Jordan
that's
Peterson
why I
School
thought.
of Psychology.
Yeah.
That's what's going to.
There's so much... If you look at the degrees that they're granting to, it's like the...
How are they granting degrees?
Well, they're not
not
doing it yet.
operating.
They're
That's
not...
the thing is like I just don't like this is just bizarro.
So they're going to start, their first course is going to start this summer, and it's called the Forbidden Courses or something incredible like that. And it's basically, I think, like a place where you can, it's going to be, I don't think it's going to confer credit, it's for undergrads. And they're going to, like, I guess, get together at, like, a WeWork in Austin and just talk about phrenology with, like, Professor Andrew Sullivan for a long time.
Yeah, skull sizes.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like this is going to be like, it's more like the Pompeii Foundation. Like at one point, like it's just, everybody's just they're going to get all this money coming in and just like, all right, we couldn't do it. But at least you got a tax deduction and we tried. And that's the important part.
That's what makes
my fault. You do,
the
buddy.
Kickstarter thing funnier,
They-
too. Because
you
like,
all
there
got
were
a tax
cases of, like,
deduction. Yeah.
Kickstarters back when
Yeah.
that was, like, a big deal. I think it was, like, one of the guys from Animal Collective raised, like, $100,000 to make an album. And then just, like,
$1
never
million,
made the album.
one fucking
yeah.
millionaire,
And like that can happen, you know. Like it's the sort of thing where like you're just like basically telling Amanda Palmer that you respect her so much that you're going to give her $1,000 on spec and hope that you're going to get something back from it. But she doesn't owe you shit after that.
Oh yeah, and like and then worst case scenario for them, they're able to just cash out a little bit. I mean, I don't know, Sam, you can go, but I'm just curious if they're the plan B is to set up some sort of pack where they can deviously
There's
fund
so
themselves.
much
Which I mean, there's so many
salt in
sham packs out there people don't realize.
That's what this is.
Yeah, well,
It's already there, right?
So
is that what the
much
language says?
salt
I mean,
in it.
what language, I guess, but
Yeah, it's so nascent. It's hard to even say
Yeah.
what the goal is. I think the thing that in trying to like write about it and
You
stuff,
had
like,
to
I don't trust it
FAQ
not because I know
could've
anything about
asked
it. No one
all
really
types
does.
of questions.
And the
Yo, there's an FAQ. You could have gone through it. 30 minutes of this jargon, and you could have gone through every bit of what this whole corporation was probably about to say, if it sound cultist or not, or fakish or not. You're just mad because
this thing is on
people
Barry
that you
Weiss's
don't
Substack,
like
that
are
the
doing
Pano
it.
Canellos or whatever his name is, the guy that they hired from St. John's. It's like
crazy.
a familiar experience if you've read a lot of stuff that people like this
Wow.
write, where it's like they'll get halfway through describing a problem and you're like, I actually agree with this so far. Like colleges are too expensive, there's too much administrative shit. It's not, you know, and it feels too much like a business. And then when they get to the part where they make their argument, you realize that you are in space. And it, like it's just they don't have an understanding of it that tracks with any available experience here on Earth, but they have their own sort of like way of addressing it. And so in this case, the idea that like colleges are too censorious and that, you know, professors are not respected merely because they have dedicated themselves entirely trying to prove that trans people aren't real or whatever the fuck it is. And then like their peers don't want to work with them, students don't want to learn from them. That like that is seen as like the actual problem that undergirds all of this. And that, like I think
No, I think it is something trying not to cater to a group of people. Whereas if they're taking biology class, they're taking biology class and not, you know, social studies, I should say. That's me again. That is me. It's just me.
that like for people
Like,
that trust
everything
the
turned
market
into
and free market
social
forces
studies.
so much and they want to make that a big part of this, at some point like
And
people
false
are voting with
history.
their feet on like whether they want to learn from the anti-vax psychology professor at Portland State University. Like, you know, take the hint. Like that's clearly what it is, right?
Yeah, and it is. I mean, I'm curious. Once they get there, I mean, if the Cicero Foundation is a nonprofit, right, and they're running it through that, they're gonna have to release like their like what people are getting paid. I'm curious to find out. Like, is Barry Weiss doing this like for free? She's doing this for the sake of education at the moment. You know, I'm really struck by what's happening with these type of enterprises because I mean, ultimately, this is going to be some type of like, if not for-profit, you know, quasi type of situation where I find it hard to believe they're going to get accredited, but if they do, it's going to be just for them to get student loans. I mean, that's the other thing that's sort of like, you know, I know how these for-profit university scams run. Essentially,
They make a lot of money doing that.
I mean, people can go look at like, you know, these are Fortune 500 companies.
But the getting accredited part, they haven't really, like they say on the website that they're pursuing accreditation and they think that they're going to get it really fast, like much faster than schools are usually accredited. But then they say that they're pursuing it through an accreditation agency that is not recognized by the state of Texas. Like it just doesn't seem like this was ready to come out of the oven yet.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. Like, I wonder if Barry Weiss was sort of jumping the gun here, and you know, wanted like, I have nothing to write this week.
I'll just give it 1,300 words on education from Pano Canellos. Maybe my readers would like that.
Exactly. I don't know. I find the whole thing bizarre, but it's interesting, and this is a little bit unrelated, but in some ways it definitely seems to be like a
Because you
a
got
thing
all the
happening
words. You
here
brought up the words
that,
earlier. You could be all
there was just a
looking at
press
it.
release the other day
You could
about
all be
Colin. Have you
looking
heard
at
this?
it right now.
It is a
Oh, yeah.
social
That's the podcast
podcast
network?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is the Glenn Greenwald is the headliner. Matt Taibbi, Brianna Joy Gray, Antonio Garcia Martinez, and Andre Demise. It is
what's
sort of like
sorry?
what is it?
Colin.
And it's sort of like a Clubhouse competitor, but with some other features. And they're, you know, Greenwald's the top one, and then Taibbi, Brianna Joy Gray, I just named, and there's others. Katie Boyle, Michael Eckhart, Troy Borks, Alex Anstead, Michael Twaramani, Brian Hobart, Jerry Lee, Melissa Tomac, Noor Siddiqui, Misty Maris, I don't know.
They're just going to get together and like chop it up with each other, like talk about
I don't
Democrats.
I think they're their own podcast platform. There might be other type of aspect to it, but it is all venture capital money. And
it's another teal adjacent guy. It's David Sachs. It's the money behind it, right?
Yes, and like I wonder how much of this is. I mean, it's obviously people want to make a profit here on these things, but there does seem to be a real exertion of political, of ideological entrepreneurship happening within that sort of libertarian. We're you know, it's like a third front on the culture war on some level.
Yeah, because I think it's like similar to what the Koch brothers did for generations, but they were much, they're stodgier. Like that's like kind of, it's a different approach. It's like this Midwestern, and not like the ambitions were any less grand, or that it hasn't succeeded, because it has. They basically took these sort of dumb and obscure ideas about how the world worked, economic understanding of things, but as sort of like as a politics in itself, and they made it respectable. They endowed chairs at the schools for generations.
It's like,
I should be looking.
But there does seem to be, and like I wonder how much of this is. I mean, it's obviously people want to make a profit here on these things, but there does seem to be a real exertion of political, of ideological entrepreneurship happening within that sort of libertarian. We're you know, it's like a third front on the culture war on some level.
Yeah, because I think it's like similar to what the Koch brothers did.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is like the left, the right, and now these unknowns guys, like this unknown group of people are trying to come in and swoop in on the cash. Yo. Oh shit, yo. Oh shit, somebody's coming to steal fucking Sam's overtime, yo.
For generations, but they were much, they're stodgier. Like that's like kind of, it's a different approach. It's like this Midwestern. The Koch brothers did for generations, but they were much, they're stodgier. Like that's like kind of, it's a different approach. It's like this Midwestern, and not like the ambitions were any less grand, or that it hasn't succeeded, because it has. That they basically took these sort of dumb and obscure ideas about how the world worked, economic understanding of things, but as sort of like as a politics in itself, and they made it respectable. They like they endowed chairs at the schools that you want to be associated with. They built institutes, they built buildings to put the teachers in, and then like over the course of a couple of generations, people start seeing it as respectable. Whereas instead it was like, a couple of guys at the University of Chicago, and then.
You know what's crazy about it now is that people are saying that you don't need to go to those types of schools anymore. You can go to fucking driving school, probably make 10 times as much as this motherfucker. I mean, you'll be working, you'll be putting in some time, but you'll be making way more money than any one of these blokes. You know what I mean? With time off. These dudes gotta make videos every day. You could fucking work for like 1 week. Oh, no, I think they be doing shit where you can travel to one place and then chill once you get there. You can travel for like 2 days, get there, chill for a day or two. Then just fucking bring something back. Chill for a day or two. You know what I mean? Take your vacation and live it up. But not, and I mean, yeah, I guess you gotta go to the trucking school to get your CDL and shit like that. But hey, you won't be there for fucking 80 years. You don't have to go for a mastery or a doctorate. It's just all experience driven right there afterwards. Holy fucking shit! Time is your degree. So this dude just keeps talking about universities
like people you would not make eye contact as you walk by on the street, like reading a pamphlet at you. Yep. And in this case, like I think that it's weird to be sort of present at the creation for a similar type of thing, because I don't think that this is really any less ambitious, and I don't think that the ideology is really all that different. I think that is sort of always like the part that trips you up with libertarians, for me anyway, is that like I'm 25% of the way there with them a lot of the time. That like a lot of it is about like I'm fine. I want people to be able to be free to do what they want to do. Right. It's just a question of like there's always a point where you hit the ceiling with them in terms of like what they're actually willing to be open to and what they're willing to sort of permit. And I mean, for the Kochs, it's always like they're libertarian only insofar. I mean, it starts with not wanting to pay taxes, and then from there's like a whole other thing that grows up out of that. I think with the University of Austin shit, especially because so much of it is about gender and involves like so many of the names that are on that list are people that are like I'm not they're TERFs. I mean, they're just like people that have made being anti-trans in kind of a provocative and trollish way a big part of their identity and their professional lives. But like that is. Like you can see the ceiling right there, that they're like, it's fine to be gay, like, and that's okay with us. Like, so that's a step ahead of where like, whatever the Kochs used to be. But like, then this is the upper boundary of what we're actually willing to tolerate. And so above that, it's like the idea that the school keeps talking about the pursuit of truth and all that. Beyond the fact that I don't really think that that's a very meaningful statement for a college to make. I think that like you can see the type of truths that these guys are interested in are not ennobling human truths. They're like, are minorities inherently more criminal?
What the fuck is a human truth, dude, Joe? Again, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you want to know truth, but for some reason, fucking, like Ben said, you think the world started spinning when you woke up. So slavery only started here in the great US of A. You ignorant sons of bitches. So that's your human truth, where the next human truth person will be like, no, slavery is a heinous act that's been going throughout the fucking world to this very day. To this very fucking day, bro. Holy shit, dog. You guys are some fucking pampered ass people, yo. Holy shit.
Than white people. Are trans people real? That's like what they mean by truth. And the idea there of like, it's not about an understanding. It's that's with all this libertarian stuff. It's a process of working backwards from a conclusion and then creating an ideology that supports it.
I mean, every time we have a conversation about stuff like this, I cite that Corey Robin book, The Reactionary Mind, because he describes it. It's, I mean, not this particularly, although he probably would, is, the idea that we're going to repackage all of, or the vast majority of the sort of structural, hierarchical dynamics that have been plaguing us forever. But we're going to repackage it in a way that's going to make it seem like it's daring and new. Right. I mean, it's like, 15 years ago it was the free market Fonzie that we would talk about. That guy was the Reason editor. And it's really the same sort of like a dynamic. And that's why it's a slightly different variant of a culture war that they're fighting, that ostensibly is dressed up in a lot of different ways. And it is, I think you're right. It is fascinating to sort of like watch the development of this. And people, hopefully there'll be a lot more written about like, who these VC people are and what other endeavors they're engaged in, and just how broad Peter Thiel's tail, or how long Peter Thiel's tail is, I guess.
Yeah, I think that the thing that and again, like, this has been a rough few years for like causality as a thing, just as a concept, like understanding that like if one thing happens then something else happens. Like, I don't know that I believe that as much as I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it's frustrating and it makes you feel like you're losing your mind all the time. But it can also be funny if you're in a situation like this where it's like, these are not terribly appealing people. These are not terribly appealing ideas. Like, they can be appealing in a sort of a surface level, but the reason they keep having to fucking reskin the brand is that sooner or later, like, it's hard to keep this cool. It's hard to make like intolerance and like
almost like, I really don't get what's wrong with libertarian. Again, we live in these types of situations. Well, what would a libertarian believe in, that when we still do have these freedoms? Granted, we do not have these freedoms. I mean, I guess the only thing I can't agree with them with is the taxes part. That's like the only part of the probably libertarianism that, I mean, fucking, we should start thinking about where our taxes are going and how the taxes are being spent. Like, we should have better say in that, but I don't know. I wouldn't have this conversation with this guy, because remember, tax deductibles mean nothing to these dudes. It may mean somebody to a parent of two who, well, actually, parent of two, they're getting well off. Or let's say a fucking a man on the wrong side of 40 who needs a couple of dollars for this and that. You know what I mean? To catch up on, what would y'all call it? Fucking systemic debt. Holy shit, I gotta play some systemic debt. I mean, fucking, I guess we should probably pay your college, you guys' college tuition first, but we got bigger fish to fry. Holy shit, why do you guys hate when fucking your opposition starts new things, yo? Sounds a little capitalist to me.
Putting the highest tax bracket or whatever. Like, you can sell that to some people, the people who are intolerant and already rich. Like, it's easy enough to do that. But at some point, it's like, it's hard to convince somebody that's on the wrong side of the way that power works that they actually, either that they just, like, it's easy enough to do that.
What you just
but
said,
at some
bro.
Tolerance and like
and what other endeavors they're engaged in, and just how broad Peter Thiel's tail, or how long Peter Thiel's tail is, I guess.
Yeah, I think that the thing that and again, like, this has been a rough few years for like causality as a thing, just as a concept, like understanding that like if one thing happens then something else happens. Like, I don't know that I believe that as much as I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it's frustrating and it makes you feel like you're losing your mind all the time. But it can also be funny if you're in a situation like this where it's like, these are not terribly appealing people. These are not terribly appealing ideas. Like, they can be appealing in a sort of a surface level, but the reason they keep having to fucking reskin the brand is that sooner or later, like, it's hard to keep this cool. It's hard to make like intolerance and like cutting the highest tax bracket or whatever. Like, you can sell that to some people, the people who are intolerant and already rich. Like, it's easy enough to do that. But at some point, it's like, it's hard to convince somebody that's on the wrong side of the way that power works that they actually, either that they deserve to be there, or that you need to keep selling them the one weird trick that gets you onto the right side of the continuum. But I don't think that the actual solutions on offer here don't work.
It's also fascinating to me how like I mean, just in reference to the Colin thing, there will always be a new crop of money, and it'll come from different flavors and different sources for leftist voices that will only criticize the left. And then once they run out of their usefulness or it's not as helpful, there will be a new iteration of it. But it just depends. I mean, this will maybe last for a year and then go away. That there will always be an appetite for that, but you can only suck that bone dry for so long before it's completely dry.
Yes, like the subsidy is endless, but the ideology is really time limited.
And the voices only have credibility for so long in that area. I mean, I think that's the fun with his
and ultimately, what's interesting to me about this is these contrary. This is the play is, let's bring in some contrarians, right? in both instances that we're talking about. And the way that these contrarians work, and the reason why they're brought in, is also because they've established their own brands. And the fascinating thing about this is that they also are not going to sacrifice their own brands and their own enterprises for this thing. Like, there's no way that Glenn Greenwald has enough equity in this that at the end of the day, he is going to, or any of these people are going to, sacrifice what they need to sacrifice to bring people there. Right? Like, like we just did it. We just ended a second show that we did on Peacock, or we just had a show on Peacock where they would play the Majority Report on Peacock. And, at one point I think they were hoping that people who watch us on YouTube would migrate over there. I'm like, why would I encourage that? You're already, like, why?
Yeah, I'm in business for myself. I think that's the thing with all the Substack types too, that like, especially like Barry Weiss, I'm not a huge fan of her.
Yo, did he just do the thing he said he didn't want to do? Did he just say that he didn't? I got a show. I ran a stream on Peacock, and then people come over here, and I wanted to I didn't want them to migrate over to Peacock. Why would I want them to do that when I have them here? He did just say that, right? Holy shit! If I was,
at one point I think they were hoping that people who watch us on YouTube would migrate over there. Like, why would I encourage that? You're already, like, why?
Yeah.
What?
And the way that these contrarians work, and the reason why they're brought in, is also because they've established their own brands. And the fascinating thing about this is that they also are not going to sacrifice their own brands and their own enterprises for this thing. Like, there's no way that Glenn Greenwald has enough equity in this that at the end of the day, he is going to, or any of these people are going to, sacrifice what they need to sacrifice to bring people there. Right? Like, like we just did it. We just ended a second show that we did on Peacock, or we just had a show on Peacock where they would play the Majority Report on Peacock. And, at one point I think they were hoping that people who watch us on YouTube would migrate over there. I'm like, why would I encourage that? You're already, like, why?
Yeah, I'm in business for myself. I think that's the thing with all the sub.
He just did that, or unless he's saying unless he's subconsciously telling his audience not to go to Peacock. Which, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to burn a bridge with your boss? You might say they're not your boss, but if they're giving you a paycheck, that's your boss. But well, not so much, but your employer, I should say, who could, just cut your show right there and then, and say, you don't want your audience to come over and watch you on Peacock as well? I thought you have different things, or you probably have on a contract where it's like, don't go over there. I don't know. What? It doesn't seem like a smart business move, yo.
That types too. That, like, especially like Barry Weiss.
Smart business move.
I'm not a huge fan of her writing. I think her major professionals. Yeah, sorry. I just mean sentence by sentence.
How dare you?
Yeah, I know. And this is the sort of bold truth, and I'm willing to come on your show. And I know that no one else that you have on dare say it.
You're jealous. That's fine. Professional jealousy.
The part of it that's amazing to me is that she's leveraged her skill, which I think is like being somebody that like rich, mean dad.
Yo, the marketing mind of fucking Sam Cedar. Holy fucking shit, bro. So you're on a major network, dog, right? Oh, my fault. You can stream shit there. I wonder if there's any commercials. Holy fucking shit, bro. Holy fucking shit. Do you not like it over there? It must suck at Peacock, yo. If he's like, why would I send my audience over there? Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. What the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you say something like that, bro? Why would you say, I wouldn't send my audience over there? Holy shit,
types
bro.
think would be cool to have as their daughter. Like, that's basically like what she does well. That Substack is like she's making like the sort of money that like the guy that pitched the 7th inning for the Mets this year. She's making it just off her fucking posts.
Yep.
Like I don't think that's good, but it's hard to like say that she's going to throw away Aaron Loop money to go to Austin to teach a Zoom class to a bunch of unbearable kids.
Exactly. Like, I mean, that's my point. Is I think like a lot of this is going to sort of like these endeavors ultimately collapse on their own weight. Like how do you promote your call-in and your Substack in the relentless way that you need to and you of course are going to just like. You're going to promote the one that puts, $1 of every dollar in your pocket instead of, 3 cents of every dollar in your pocket.
There is kind of like an inspiring network of all these people like putting each other on and boosting each other up or whatever. I mean, if the ideas weren't so bad, it would be very nice.
Did I miss it, yo? Like, again, yo, you're mad at their ideas, bro. Not everybody. Holy fuck. The salt is deep here.
You're absolutely. This is something that I've watched on the right for years. I mean, on the heart, like you just watch that circle jerk with Shapiro and Rubin and all those other people, and they just get around. And this is developed in this space. I mean, I hesitate to.
And a lot to take some pointers here, but unfortunately, like when there's a lot of money involved on the right or with the IDW, it makes it a lot easier to be more collaborative. Where in left media spaces, there's less money.
We could do it.
I think that's it. And I think, sorry to interrupt, I just think the other thing I'd add to that is that they only say the same three things about the same three issues all the time. And so I think that there is,
Not
for
one-
all the idea of
not
this
one
being like sort of
original
bold,
idea of a
heterodox
bunch
thinking or
of
whatever,
them, bro.
like they're just like praising each other for rephrasing each other's posts. And so that makes it easier, I think, in some ways, and they're only linking to each other and all of that. And I think that, like, again, echo chambers exist across the political spectrum. I just think it's easier when everybody says the same things all the time, which I think is like, for all the failings of the discourse on our side of the continuum, like, I think is less so. I think that there's more, it's less lockstep, and also like people are responding to actual things in the news as opposed to, like, in this case, like, where it is really all about like the West, gender, and race. And it's the same things about that.
And really just like one half of the equation.
Yes.
Right? Like where there is some disruption in essentially the status quo that has existed for ad infinitum.
Yeah.
David, much appreciated. People can find your Substack where?
It is at Truth Warrior.
Oh, you
I'm
ain't
guesting
gonna
on
do
Barry's
it
thing this
for me,
week
though.
about how
Wow, I think you're
guesting on
joking,
Barry's thing
bro.
this week about how
No, we gotta get back to what that dude said today. Fuck with, he's trying to ask you people for money.
I cite that Corey Robin book, The Reactionary Mind, because he describes it. I mean, not this particularly, although he probably would. Is the idea that we're going to repackage all of, or the vast majority of, the sort of structural, hierarchical dynamics that have been plaguing us forever. But we're going to repackage it in a way that's going to make it seem like it's daring and new. Right. I mean, it's like 15 years ago it was the free market Fonzie that we would talk about. That guy it was the Reason editor, and it's really the same sort of like dynamic. And that's why it's it's a slightly different variant of a culture war that they're fighting. That ostensibly is dressed up in a lot of different ways, and it is. I think you're right. It is fascinating to sort of like watch the development of this, and people, hopefully there'll be a lot more written about like who these VC people are and what other endeavors they're engaged in, and just how broad Peter Thiel's tail, or how long Peter Thiel's tail is, I guess.
Yeah, I think that the thing that and again, like, this has been a rough few years for like causality as a thing, just as a concept. Like understanding that like if one thing happens, then something else happens. Like I don't know that I believe that as much as I did, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it's frustrating, and it makes you feel like you're losing your mind all the time. But it can also be funny if you're in a situation like this, where it's like, these are not terribly appealing people. These are not terribly appealing ideas. Like, they can be appealing in, a sort of a surface level. But the reason they keep having to fucking reskin the brand is that sooner or later, like, it's hard to keep this cool. It's hard to make like intolerance and like cutting the highest tax bracket or whatever. Like, you can sell that to some people, the people who are intolerant and already rich. Like, it's easy enough to do that. But at some point, it's like, it's hard to convince somebody that's on the wrong side of the way that power works that they actually, either that they deserve to be there, or that you can keep selling them, the one weird trick that gets you onto the right side of the continuum. But I don't think that the actual solutions on offer here don't work.
It's also fascinating to me how like just in reference to the Colin thing, there will always be a new crop of money, and it'll come from different flavors and different sources for leftist voices that will only criticize the left, and then once they run out of their usefulness or it's not as helpful, there will be a new iteration of it. But it just depends. I mean, this will maybe last for a year and then go away. That there will always be an appetite for that, but you can only suck that bone dry for so long before it's completely dry.
Yes, like the subsidy is endless, but the ideology is really time limited.
And the voices only have credibility for so long in that area. I mean, I think that's the done with his
and ultimately, what's interesting to me about this is these contrary. This is the play is let's bring in some contrarians. I mean, in both instances that we're talking about, and the way that these contrarians work, and the reason why they're brought in is also because they've established their own brands. And the fascinating thing about this is that they also are not going to sacrifice their own brands and their own enterprises.
There's this thing called fucking compromising as well, bro. I bet you don't have to sacrifice to fucking have another venture. That's how ventures happen, bro. Elon Musk has like probably 1,000 things going on. You think he probably got to sacrifice a little, but still has that shit fucking growing. You're a moron, yo. That's why you're not promoting Peacock, huh?
For this thing. Like, there's no way that Glenn Greenwald has enough equity in this that at the end of the day, he is going to, or any of these people, are going to,
what would they have to sacrifice?
What they need to sacrifice to bring people there, right? Like, we just did it. We just ended a second show that we did on Peacock, or we just had a show on Peacock where they would play the Majority Report on Peacock, and at one point I think they were hoping that people who watch us on YouTube would.
Hold on. Let's slow this down now. So I need to hear this in its entirety, bro. This motherfucker's peak business sense, bro. Peak business sense. Viewers on Peacock would help you as well, though, right? So you would want your viewers to come over there, and maybe if there's any freaking, because I think you do gotta pay for Peacock unless you get it free with Dane, and then nobody's still watching it. But whatever. However you're gonna get Peacock, you gotta pay for it one way or another. Which, I mean, you even say every dollar. Why the fuck? Oh my god, bro. I guess making money off of your audience this way is better than making money off your audience over there. That's too much work for them to just purchase Peacock. That money should just go to your pocket. But this is crazy.
Well, has enough equity in this that at the end of the
equity him
day,
to me.
he is going to, or any of these people
Any
are
of these people, he's
going
gonna equate me to them.
you know,
They're starting to school. This nigga's
sacrifice what they need
living
to
off of
sacrifice
somebody
to
else's
bring
shit.
people there, right? Like, you know, like
you see that?
we just did it. We just ended a second show that we
just
did
did it.
on Peacock, or we just had a show on Peacock where they would play the Majority Report on Peacock, and you know, at one point I think they were hoping that people who watch us on YouTube would migrate over there, and I'm like, why would I encourage that? You're our
Oh my god. Oh my god, yo. On that note, though, and y'all are encouraging it. You guys are encouraging it. That's money out of your pocket. I don't know if you're around. That's the money on the dude who's the ghost nigga that's always talking about the intergalactic slave trade. Yo, that's money out of their pocket. Holy fucking shit, bro. And it's like, if I was watching that, if I was a Peacock executive and I was watching that shit, I'd be like, what, you're not sending your audience over here to watch you over here? What the fuck? Oh, so you're using us to highlight you. Oh, all right, my nigga, you're not that important. Then cut your shit right there. Cut your shit right there. Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. But I forgot, yo, these smug dudes, they only need you to give them their money. They don't need to cipher money from somewhere else. Even they signed the contract with these guys, so you don't have to go over there and support us. So we could probably get more money from Peacock. We'll just keep getting more money from the audience. You, right? Isn't that how it goes? Isn't that how it goes? Hold on.
You know, like
I guess we'll
yeah, I'm in
fast
business
forward
for
to the end.
myself.
So
I think that's the thing with
did this
with
for
all the subs.
myself. What? Why do you think Peacock picked you up? Why do you think? Because of this fucking stunning conversation? You guys being ultra mad because fucking some libertarians are putting a school together? They're gonna try to make money off of it? Holy fuck, my guy. Holy fuck. I'm sorry. And I gotta pay for your schooling. Holy shit.
just like one half of the equation,
Yes.
right? Like where
No.
It is that Truth Warrior.
He was joking.
Guesting on Barry's.
one half of the equation,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
like where
shit,
there's
right?
some
Oh, shit.
there is some disruption in essentially the status quo that has existed for you know, ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, Autumn,
David,
Autumn.
much appreciated. People can find your Substack where?
Made no sense at all.
It is at Truth Warrior. I'm guesting on Barry's thing this week about how I think that the Eternals is Marxist.
He wasn't even serious. Holy fuck, yo. Holy. My fucking god. That was not fucking planned, yo. They did not plan that at all, yo. Holy fuck. Unless because he said truth seekers and he took it fucking serious. I mean, he took it as a joke. Unless that was an inside joke that I don't know about. Holy fuck. If it was, they got me, and that was a good one. Holy fucking shit, bro.
It is at Truth Warrior. I'm guesting on Barry's thing this week about how.
Shit.
Or
So he was joking.
you know,
That's
ad
just
infinitum.
fucking-
Yeah.
Cause what does that mean?
David,
Ad infinitum. Holy fuck.
much appreciated. People
thanks
can
for having me.
find your Substack where?
It is at Truth Warrior. I'm guesting on Barry's thing this week about how I think that the Eternals.
I guess the joke is that nobody would have a fucking handle for a Substack called Finder, some shit. Oh man, that was a good laugh for the working morning. Holy shit, y'all be good.